The annual Crystal Peak Fair seemed to come alive in vibrant colors, lively sounds, and the sweet fragrance of autumn. Children ran joyfully, holding cotton candy, while the wooden carousel echoed with cheerful melodies. The rich aroma of freshly baked pies filled the air, tempting anyone who passed by. Christine, Keanu's mother, tried to smile as she held her son's hand, leading him past the booths. "Keanu, do you want to try something? Apple pie? Or gummies?" she asked, her voice attempting to sound cheerful. But Keanu just shook his head, his eyes seemingly wanting to escape from everything happening around him. The festival, with all its hustle and bustle, was not the place for Keanu. He was sensitive to noise and crowded spaces, every laugh and conversation surrounding him crashing in like unrelenting waves. When the music from the carousel suddenly grew louder, Keanu flinched, covering his ears with his hands. "Keanu, what's wrong?" "Mommy's here." "Mommy's," Christine said anxiously, kneeling, trying to comfort her son. But Keanu couldn't take it anymore. He swayed, his body tensing as if about to break down. The curious stares of those around them made Christine feel as though an invisible pressure was weighing down on her. Not far away, Melina Gomez leaned against the wooden fence, gently stroking the coat of her horse, Cody. Her reddish-brown horse was a familiar symbol at the fair, always drawing attention with its calm demeanor and regal presence. Melina noticed Christine and Keanu's situation. She quietly observed, not wanting to intervene but unable to look away. "It looks like they need a little help," Melina whispered to Cody. The horse, as if understanding her words, suddenly lifted its head and walked out of the stall, its bright eyes locked onto Keanu. "Cody, come back!" Melina called, but the horse didn't stop. It moved slowly but decisively, past the children and bustling booths. When it reached Keanu, Cody stopped and gently lowered its head, resting its forehead on the boy's shoulder. Keanu froze, his eyes wide in astonishment. For a few seconds, it seemed as though the noisy world around him had disappeared. Christine, still kneeling beside him, was equally surprised. "Keanu, are you okay?" she asked, her voice full of concern. The boy didn't answer. He slowly relaxed his body, his hands hanging loosely at his sides. Keanu gently touched Cody's head, his expression softening. A small smile appeared on his face, something Christine hadn't seen in a long time. "This horse is special," Melina said softly as she approached, her voice gentle but friendly. "I've never seen Cody do this before." Christine turned to Melina, her eyes brimming with tears. "Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know what to say." "You're welcome," Melina replied. "Cody seems to understand people's feelings better than we do." Keanu began to stroke Cody's neck, and the tension within him completely disappeared. He's amazing, Mom," Keanu said, the first words he'd spoken after a long day. Christine looked at her son, feeling as though she'd just received a precious gift. The people around them gradually dispersed, leaving a peaceful space for Christine and Keanu. Melina sat down next to them, telling the boy about Cody. "He's been my companion for the past 5 years. Cody loves peace just like you." Keanu listened intently, his eyes lighting up. He began asking questions about Cody, his voice full of curiosity. Christine couldn't help but smile, feeling the special connection between her son and the horse. As the afternoon passed, Melina suggested, "If you want, you can visit Cody any time. I think he likes you a lot." "Really?" Keanu asked, his eyes sparkling. "I want to." In the days that followed, Christine noticed a big change in Keanu. He no longer withdrew into silence, but instead always talked about Cody. Every story he shared about the horse was filled with joy and excitement. "Mom, does Cody know when I'm sad?" Keanu asked one evening as they sat together. Christine gently stroked her son's hair, smiling. "I think Cody understands you more than I do, Keanu." From then on, Cody wasn't just a horse. He became Keanu's special friend. Every time the boy visited Cody, his smile appeared more often, as if the horse had helped him find the peace he had always longed for. The calls from Melina brought Christine the comfort she hadn't felt in months. That weekend, the whole family decided to visit Melina's farm. They drove down the gravel road leading to the farm, with Keanu staring out the window. In the distance, Cody was grazing in the lush green field, instantly capturing the boy's attention. "Keanu, do you see Cody?" "He's waiting for you," Christine said gently but encouragingly. Keanu didn't reply, but his eyes remained fixed on the horse. When the car stopped near the stable, Melina stepped out with a warm smile. "Welcome to the farm," she called, waving to the whole family. Christine got out of the car while Keanu stayed seated, his hands gripping the car door. "It's okay, my dear. We can wait until you're ready," Christine reassured, sitting down beside him. After a few moments of hesitation, Keanu slowly stepped down, his gaze still fixed on Cody. Melina approached Keanu, maintaining just enough distance to avoid making him uncomfortable. "Keanu, Cody has been eager to meet you all week," she said gently. The boy looked up slightly, his eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and anxiety. As the group neared the horse's enclosure, Cody raised his head, his ears standing upright as if he had recognized Keanu from afar. The horse took slow steps toward the boy, and then something magical happened. Without hesitation, Cody lowered his head to get closer to Keanu. Keanu gently reached out his hand, hesitating for a moment before touching Cody's soft fur. "Hello," he whispered, his voice so faint that Christine could barely hear it. Cody snorted as if replying to the greeting. Keanu giggled quietly, and the sound of his laughter broke the heavy silence like a ray of light. Christine stood still, blinking to hold back the tears that were about to fall. Melina observed from a distance, her arms crossed, her gaze filled with tenderness. "He's found his friend," she said, her voice soft yet meaningful. Christine nodded, her heart full of joy mixed with gratitude. From that day on, the visits to Melina's farm became an essential part of her family's life. With each return, Keanu grew more confident. From his initially hesitant steps to naturally walking into the horse's pen, the boy learned how to brush Cody's coat, how to tie the reins, and even how to lead Cody on walks through the vast meadow. One afternoon, as Keanu carefully brushed Cody's shiny coat, Melina leaned against the pen's door, her gaze distant as if remembering a long-forgotten memory. "I saved him about 5 years ago," she began, her voice slow but filled with emotion. "Saved him?" Christine asked, surprised, glancing up from a small wooden chair nearby. Melina nodded, her eyes still on Cody. "Back then he was very weak, scared and trusted no one. It took months before I could touch him without scaring him." Christine's eyes widened. "I can hardly imagine that. Cody looks so calm and composed now." Melina smiled, her lips curving gently. "Yes, he's changed a lot. But what's special about Cody is that after overcoming his fear, he seems to have the ability to soothe other horses, especially those who are injured or frightened. It's as if he knows what they need." Christine was silent for a moment, her eyes lingering on Keanu. The boy was now busy tying the reins, his small hands moving with confidence and certainty. The story of Cody stayed with Christine throughout the drive home. She couldn't stop thinking about the similarities between Cody and Keanu. Both had faced hardships. Both had felt lost in the world. But now they had found each other, and the bond between them brought a strength that she couldn't express in words. One afternoon, as Keanu led Cody around the meadow, Christine leaned toward Melina. "What if other children had the chance to experience this?" she asked, her voice full of hope. Melina hesitated slightly, her brow furrowed. "That's a wonderful idea, but we need to be very careful. Cody is a special horse, but he's also very sensitive. I don't want him to feel overwhelmed." Christine nodded, her gaze filled with understanding. "I get it," Maybe we should start with 1 or 2 families first and see how they respond." Melina was silent for a long while, as if considering it. Finally, she gave a small nod. "Okay, but we must do everything in a way that makes Cody feel comfortable." The idea gradually took shape. Christine not only saw the change in her son, but also recognized Cody's great potential in helping other children. She believed that, like Keanu, these children needed a peaceful place where they could overcome their fears. And what better place than beside a special friend like Cody? Not long after, 2 more children came to the farm. Their early days with Cody were hesitant and challenging, but full of promise. A boy named Thomas struggled with motor skills and couldn't hold a brush properly. Cody, as always, stood patiently still and didn't give up. He encouraged Thomas to try again until finally, the boy succeeded in gently brushing Cody. Thomas looked at Cody, his eyes lighting up with joy and pride. Another girl named Tracy was initially afraid of large animals. Every time she saw a horse, she felt frightened and wanted to run away. But when Cody, with his gentle and kind nature, knelt and lowered his head to her eye level, Tracy began to feel safer. Slowly, she reached out her hand and, for the first time, touched her horse friend. "Mom, I touched it," Tracy exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. Her eyes sparkled with joy, like a child discovering a miracle for the first time. Tracy's mother, standing a few steps away, couldn't hide her emotions. Tears of happiness rolled down her cheeks. "Thank you, Cody. Thank you so much. She's always been so shy, I never thought she'd dare to do this," she said, her voice choked with emotion. At the end of the lesson, Tracy was still walking beside Cody, holding her horse friend, with a happy smile on her face. Her mother couldn't hold back her emotions, and tears of happiness streamed down her cheeks. They had witnessed a significant change in Tracy, and it was nothing short of a miracle. That evening, as Christine and Melina helped each other clean up after a long, busy day, Christine happened to notice a pile of papers on the table. A letter with a bright red seal in the corner caught her attention and made her feel uneasy. At first, she thought it was just a routine notice, but upon closer inspection, anxiety welled up inside her. "Melina, what's this?" Christine asked, holding up the paper for her friend to see clearly. Melina sighed, her gaze tired. "It's just the overdue farm taxes," she replied, her voice dropping with concern. Christine frowned, dissatisfied with this answer. "How overdue?" she asked, feeling a sense of worry rising in her. Melina looked directly at Christine and admitted, "If we don't pay soon, the bank could seize the farm's assets." Christine looked back at Melina, her eyes filled with determination. "We will find a way," she said resolutely. "We can't lose this farm. It's not just where we live, but an important part of our lives. It means so much to all of us." Melina looked at Christine, saying nothing more, but her hands began flipping through the documents. She could do nothing but try to keep going. Meanwhile, Christine sat beside her, lost in thought. She decided she wouldn't let things get out of hand. Not with Melina, not with the farm, and certainly not with Cody. The next morning, the atmosphere was tense as Christine and Melina sat at the kitchen table, busy calculating on the papers. The numbers passed before their eyes like a complex equation they couldn't solve yet. "I don't know," Melina sighed, fiddling with her hair. "Even though we've started receiving some donations, it's still not enough to cover the expenses." Christine replied firmly, "We won't give up. This farm means too much to all of us. It's not just where we work, but a home for so many children, including Cody. We have to do everything we can to keep it." Melina looked at Christine, saying nothing more, but her hands started flipping through the documents for ideas. "What if we focus on Cody and try organizing a small performance?" Christine suggested. "It would be fun and could raise money for the farm." Melina hesitated for a moment. "There's a lot to prepare," she said, but couldn't deny that it was a good idea. "But it's a feasible one." Meanwhile, Keanu was leading Cody across the field. the boys' laughter echoing through the window. Christine could sense the strength in that laughter. The boy had grown so much, and the relationship between him and Cody was no longer one of shyness, but had become an invisible bond connecting two hearts. Melina began writing a list of things to do for the performance. "We could invite people from the town. They've always loved Cody, and they'll want to participate." The two women continued to sit together, discussing the details, hoping that this would be the magical event that would help them overcome the difficulties. As the afternoon passed and the last rays of sunlight quietly disappeared below the horizon, the two women were still hard at work. They couldn't stop thinking about the farm's future, about the children they could help. The sleepless nights spent calculating and planning the performance were all they could do at that moment. They couldn't let everything fall apart. The next morning, the atmosphere was tense again as Christine and Melina sat at the kitchen table engrossed in calculations. They had tried everything, from organizing fundraising events to charity trips. But the numbers still didn't add up. "I don't know," Melina sighed, fiddling with her hair. "Even though we've started receiving some donations, it's still not enough." Christine replied firmly, "We won't give up. This farm means too much to all of us." As Keanu led Cody across the field, the boys' laughter echoed through the window, and Christine felt the strength of resilience. The time spent caring for Cody had become an important part of their lives, and no matter how difficult the road ahead seemed, she knew they wouldn't give up. The quiet confidence in the boy had grown so strong that Christine sometimes didn't recognize the shy, withdrawn boy from just a few months ago. She looked at him now and felt the enormous change. Her heart swelled with determination. She couldn't let what they had achieved slip away so easily. The sound of a car door slammed, making both Christine and Melina start. A sleek black car pulled up to the doorstep, reflecting the blazing morning sun. A man in a tailored coat stepped out, exuding confidence and authority. His shoes crunched on the gravel as he approached the porch. Melina furrowed her brow, sensing the tension in the air. Christine took a step back, placing her hand on Melina's shoulder as if to reassure her. "Good morning, Mrs. Gomez," the man spoke, his voice polite but cold, accompanied by a courteous smile. "I'm Kelvin Rowling, representing a company very interested in acquiring your valuable property. We've heard about your wonderful horse, Cody." Melina didn't hesitate. "He's not for sale," she replied briefly, her gaze sharp. Kelvin smirked, raising his hand in a gesture of understanding. "I understand your hesitation, but allow me to explain. We believe Cody could become the centerpiece of an extremely successful therapeutic horseback riding program. To show good faith, we are willing to offer you a sum that would not only resolve your debts, but also significantly improve life on the farm." Melina clenched her fists, her voice resolute. "Cody is not just a horse. He's a part of this farm, a part of this community, and he's not going anywhere." Kelvin's smile faded. Quietly, he took a business card from his jacket pocket and placed it on the old wooden table in front of Melina. "Think carefully about my offer. I believe you'll make a reasonable decision." Kelvin left, leaving behind an air of tension and Christine's suspicious gaze. "We have to do something," Christine said, breaking the silence. "Not selling Cody, but making the whole community realize how important he is to us." Melina nodded, her eyes brightening with a glimmer of hope. Over the next few days, they threw themselves into preparing for a special event, Cody's Day. The farm became bustling with activity. Banners were hung up, inviting people to join. Melina and Christine sent out invitations to families in the area, especially those with children who had benefited from Cody's help. On the day of the event, Cody was carefully groomed, his shiny brown coat glistening under the sun. The horseback riding demonstrations began, with children participating, and the sound of laughter echoed all around. Booths displaying images of Cody were set up, telling the story of the miraculous healing he had brought. "Look, Mom," a boy shouted, pointing toward Cody performing elegant moves. Melina stood nearby, smiling gently as she saw the joy spread across people's faces. In the evening, as Christine put Keanu to bed, the boy tugged on his mother's hand and whispered, "Does Cody have to leave?" Christine sighed softly, her gaze tender yet worried. "No, sweetheart. We'll do everything we can to keep him here." Cody's day was a resounding success. Those who attended not only had fun but also gained a deeper understanding of the value Cody brought to the community. However, a few days later, the familiar black car appeared again. Kelvin Rowling stepped out, this time with less of the usual cold demeanor. He stopped in front of the porch. His eyes scanned the crowd gathered around. "Hello, Mrs. Gomez," he began, his tone softer. "I can see that this community truly loves Cody. That's quite admirable. We'd like to double our initial offer, not just to save the farm, but to expand it." Whispers erupted among the crowd. People murmured about the large sum Kelvin had just mentioned, but Christine wouldn't let anyone speak for her. "Cody is not for sale," she declared, her voice clear and firm. Kelvin was momentarily surprised, but his eyes remained challenging. He turned to Melina, who was looking toward Keanu, watching him play near Cody with a bright smile. Melina took a deep breath as if to strengthen her resolve. "He's not just a horse," she said, her voice low but sure. "He's a friend, a healer. He's an irreplaceable part of this family." Kelvin stood still for a moment, his expression shifting from patience to disappointment. He put the business card back in his pocket, nodded a final time, and left. The black car sped off into the night, leaving Melina and Christine standing there, a wave of relief washing over them. Melina smiled, watching Cody graze beside Keanu. She turned to Christine and said, "We did the right thing, didn't we?" Christine placed her hand on her friend's shoulder, replying, "Yes, Cody belongs here, with all of us." After the fundraising event, the atmosphere at Crystal Peak Farm grew quiet. Although the donations were significant, it still wasn't enough to help Melina solve the mounting debt. Christine sat next to Melina on the wooden steps of the main house, her gaze distant as she looked at Cody grazing. "What are we going to do now, Melina?" Christine asked, her voice heavy with worry. Melina didn't answer right away, her eyes briefly reflecting fatigue. "I don't know," she sighed. "I've tried everything, but it doesn't seem to be enough." Just then a voice rang out from behind them. "Miss Gomez?" Both women turned around to see a middle-aged woman with neatly styled brown hair in a simple suit. "I'm Dr. Emma Smith," she introduced herself with a friendly smile. "I'm the director of a non-profit organization that provides therapeutic horseback riding. What I saw today was truly impressive." Melina stood up, surprised, and asked, "Are you referring to Cody and our small therapy program?" "That's right," Dr. Smith nodded. "Cody is a special horse, and I believe this place has the potential to become a leading therapy center. I want to collaborate to help you expand this program, not only to pay off debt but also to help even more families." Melina hesitated for a moment. "But how can we pay off the debt before we start anything else?" Dr. Smith smiled confidently. "We can provide resources, funding, and even a team of staff to support you. This collaboration not only addresses the financial issue but also opens up opportunities for the farm to develop sustainably." Melina felt a spark of hope. She looked at Christine, who also nodded in agreement. "Thank you," Melina said, her voice choking with emotion. "This means so much to us." In the following weeks, Melina, Christine, and Dr. Smith worked tirelessly to formalize the partnership agreement. The hustle at the farm brought a new energy. Meetings, expansion plans, and involvement from sponsors created an atmosphere of rare optimism. Keanu didn't fully understand the gravity of the previous crisis, but he could sense the positive change. On weekends, Keanu often spent time at the horse barn with Cody, talking to his four-legged friend as though the horse understood everything he said. Christine observed her son from a distance, her heart swelling with pride. Keanu had grown more confident, no longer the shy boy he once was. One day, she said to Melina, "My son has changed because of Cody. It's hard to believe how much of a difference one horse can make." Melina smiled. "Not just Keanu, but this whole farm has changed because of him. I think Cody is the miracle we needed." On a warm spring day, the center's first official therapy session took place. Families from all over drove to the farm, bringing with them hopes for healing. Keanu, wearing his new shirt and favorite cowboy hat, stood beside Christine, looking anxious. "Everything will be fine," Christine gently reassured, kneeling to look him in the eye. "Just do what you've learned and remember that Cody is always with you." Keanu nodded, took a deep breath and stepped into the barn where Cody was waiting. The boy stood next to the horse, gently stroking its smooth coat as if to calm himself. The families gathered around the area, their eyes filled with curiosity and hope. A little girl named Luna, about 8 years old, stood timidly beside her mother, her eyes shimmering with fear. Since the painful event last year, the girl had not spoken to anyone. Her mother didn't expect much, but she brought her here as a final chance. Keanu noticed Luna's shyness. He gently approached her, smiled, and spoke calmly. "It's okay. Cody is very gentle. Would you like to come closer?" Luna hesitated, but Keanu's kind eyes and Cody's calm presence reassured her. Holding her mother's hand tightly, she slowly moved toward the horse. Cody lowered his head as if to greet Luna, sniffing her trembling hand. Keanu encouraged, "Try petting his nose. Cody loves that." Luna hesitantly reached out and touched Cody's nose. The soft fur and warmth of the horse made her giggle. It was the first sound her mother had heard in over a year. The mother burst into tears, hugging her daughter tightly and saying, thank you, Cody." Keanu watched the scene before him, feeling an unusual warmth in his heart. He turned to Christine, seeing his mother smiling at him with pride in her eyes. When the therapy session ended, Melina stood at the barn door, watching the families leave with eyes full of hope. "This is why we started," she said to Christine, her voice emotional. Christine nodded. "Not just for them, but for Keanu. My son has found himself here, and I couldn't be more grateful." Melina replied, "We've overcome so many challenges, and I believe this is just the beginning." Christine watched Keanu leading Cody back to the barn, the golden sunset behind him. At that moment, she knew that, although the road ahead was long, they were heading in the right direction. After the families left, Melina gathered everyone in the barn, where the warm yellow lights gently illuminated the space. She stood in the middle of the circle, her eyes scanning the tired but bright faces. "We did it," Melina said, her voice choking with emotion. "Today we not only saved the farm, but we gave it a purpose. And this is all thanks to you all, especially Keanu." The group turned to look at the teenager, who was standing a little off to the side, trying not to attract attention. Keanu, surprised by the compliment, looked up, his eyes sparkling with pride. Melina approached, knelt to his eye level, and gently placed a hand on his shoulder. "Keanu, you've shown us something truly magical. Cody has a special gift, but so do you. You are the bridge between Cody and the other children. No one else could do that but you." Keanu lowered his head, trying to hide his embarrassment, but the smile he gave betrayed him. The room suddenly erupted in enthusiastic applause. Melina turned back to her team, her eyes shining with belief. "I believe this is just the beginning. With Keanu and Cody, we will accomplish even more wonderful things." While everyone continued to share their joy, Keanu stepped out of the circle. He walked over to Cody, the large brown horse standing quietly, its eyes full of understanding. Keanu leaned close to Cody's ear and whispered something. Cody let out a soft neigh, its ears swiveling backward as if fully understanding every word. A few staff members observed from a distance, whispering to each other, Keanu truly is the whisperer of Cody. Weeks later, thanks to the collaboration with Dr. Smith's nonprofit organization, the Crystal Peak Farm officially became a therapy center. Melina and the team developed programs for children with autism and developmental disorders. Cody quickly became a star, not only because of his charm, but also due to his unique connection with the children. One day, as Melina was conducting a therapy session, Keanu stood nearby, observing everything. A boy about 8 years old seemed nervous as he approached Cody. Keanu walked over, crouched to the boy's eye level, and smiled. "Would you like to give it a try?" Keanu asked gently. The boy shook his head, his eyes filled with fear. Keanu didn't rush. He turned to Cody and began gently stroking the horse's neck, speaking as though unaware of the boy's presence. "Cody isn't scary. He's very gentle and always ready to help. If you want, just reach out and he'll understand." Gradually, the boy quietly extended his hand towards Cody. Cody lowered his head and gently touched the small hand. A smile appeared on the boy's face, and his mother, standing next to him, couldn't help but shed tears. Melina watched the scene from a distance, her heart swelling with pride. Christine, Keanu's mother, witnessed all the changes in her son. Keanu, once a shy boy who often avoided eye contact, was now confident, standing before a crowd, sharing and connecting. One evening, as Christine tucked Keanu into bed, the boy looked at his mother with a determined expression. "Mom, Cody saved me. I want to help him save other kids too." Christine was taken aback by the maturity in her son's words. She bent down and hugged Keanu tightly, tears falling on her cheek. "You've already done that, my son. I'm so proud of you." Months later, the farm hosted a special event to celebrate the success of the therapy program. Families who had participated returned to share their stories. The atmosphere was filled with laughter, music, and heartfelt stories. Keanu, now a confident young man, led the special performance with Cody. "Today, Cody and I will show you the miracles he can perform," he said before the crowd. Throughout the performance, Keanu's gaze never left Cody. He gently stroked the horse's neck, whispering something before Cody carried out the movements. The crowd applauded non-stop, but for Keanu, that didn't matter. He only cared about Cody. When the event ended, Melina and Christine stood together, watching Keanu and Cody under the sunset light. "I used to think I saved Cody when I brought him here," Melina said, her voice as light as the breeze. "But now I realize Cody saved all of us." Christine nodded, her eyes sparkling. "That's right. I can't imagine what Keanu would be like without Cody." Keanu turned around and flashed a happy smile. "We're a team," the boy said, gently patting his horse friend. Cody neighed softly, his ears swiveling towards Keanu as if in agreement. The sun slowly sank below the horizon. The orange and gold light bathed the space. Keanu stood leaning against Cody, his voice carrying in the gentle breeze. "Well done, Cody. We're a team." Melina and Christine looked toward the two special friends, knowing this was just the beginning of a meaningful journey. In that moment, they understood that hope wasn't just for other families but for themselves as well. As the sunset painted the hills in red, the Crystal Peak Farm seemed to glow brighter than ever before. Cody neighed softly as if expressing gratitude for the opportunity to heal. Keanu smiled, his eyes sparkling with a strong belief that this journey wouldn't end there. Every step Cody took, and every confident glance Keanu made, carried a promise that more lives would be changed, more hope awakened. Christine stood there, watching her son walk alongside Cody, her heart full of emotion. She knew that the hard days had taught them a precious lesson. Sometimes, it is the wounds that lead us to healing and true love. Melina quietly placed her hand on her heart, her gaze distant. "We didn't just build a farm," she thought. "We created a family." Keanu and Cody's journey is a testament to the power of understanding and love. Although the road ahead may still be long and full of challenges, at Crystal Peak, Hope will always be nurtured. This is not just a place for families to seek healing, but a place where miracles are written every day. And with the final light of that day, Crystal Peak Farm continued to echo with promises that every journey is worth it, and every dream can become reality. Step forward, for you are never alone. If this story has touched your heart, don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear your stories about the journeys of change and the special relationships that helped you grow. Let's spread the message of hope, love, and healing to those around us. Don't forget to follow and share to help even more people find inspiration from this story. Goodbye for now and see you again soon.